Hello there, welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jedel Kabiru. I'm so glad that you're joining us once again for a political conversation. Simple, truthful, and biased, hard-hitting conversations with Herman Manyora. Sir, how are you doing today?
Wonderful.
You're wonderful today.
Oh, wonderful. You can see, full of vibes.
You had your elections in Kakamega and Mombasa yesterday.
Yes.
But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about what is happening within the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Affidavits, revelations, wanamwaga mtama, wengine wanasema wanamwaga ugali na mboga, walale njaa wote. But tell me, when you look at Tuju on Sunday, he came out giving his statement over there saying, look, this guy is lying. I went there just because I had evidence of rigging. These guys even came to my home, Chebukati, and I think the CEO. First of all, tell me, was he right to come out with those revelations after Chebukati's affidavit?
But he says, since you have dragged me, you have dragged my name, I should also say one or two things, even the scores. Yeah.
Has he really?
You say I came to your office.
Yeah.
But if you came to my house at midnight, perhaps, or at 2 in the day, tell me what you are coming to do.
Has he really, has he really done that? Because someone like Miguna says that he has admitted to interfere with the electoral process, to subvert the will of the people, attempting to bribe election officials. That's what the Kenya Kwanza side is looking at this, at his side of the story. Does that make sense for you, or is it? You know, it's not that simple.
Forget about Miguna. You know what? He says Tuju went to his office, to the holding room, whatever boardroom they were using,
yes,
and said one or two things that would suggest he wanted to compromise them. But Tuju said there were 10 people inside.
Okay.
If there were 10 people inside, is it possible, and those 10 people actually his own people, most of them, is it possible Tuju could have said what they are saying? Even if it is possible, it may be just a continuation of the game that started, because Tuju is also telling them, explaining what you came doing in some secret location with me.
Yeah.
And these two commissioners, let them say what they came doing in my house at night.
Okay.
You see what is happening, and many people, lawyers, including Miguna, ought to know. The rules of the Supreme Court, and mainly because of this, especially in this case because of the time, say things should be done by affidavit. You cannot bring those people to court to cross-examine them. So, you say this, I say mine. I swear an affidavit, you swear an affidavit. I throw this thing in the public, you throw yours in the public. The Supreme Court will try and make sense of what they can see. Yeah. Because it's not just what you have said or what I've said. It is other things that seems to connect, things you connect, patterns. A court looks at patterns also.
Is this enough for them, though? Is this enough, the affidavit and what is in the public domain? Does this mean that the Supreme Court will not look into the details as they should, if it's just public and affidavit?
It depends on what people mean by details. You know, the Supreme Court cannot look at, you saw Raila took their two lorryfuls or something like that. You saw the material.
Yeah.
Which court can look at that? This court has 14 days. And you know, it's not even 14 days. It is actually like 4 days.
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 days. Oh, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 days.
Yes.
To hear and write a judgment. Even if it's a brief one, my friend. Nobody intended the Supreme Court to have an ordinary hearing. They would have given them 3 years or 2 years.
Okay, then what are they doing if they're getting evidence and it's not, the devil is not in the details for you when it comes to these cases?
It is what I call a bird's view of things. You know, you're a Kenyan. That's why members of the Supreme Court are Kenyans. And they live in this country. You can tell whether an election is flawed or not. Just even if you're not a judge, you can tell. The Supreme Court is called upon just to look at this election. And the one established, even before, even before those things were presented to the court. These things are just flying in the social media. And the filing that was done, minus the physical evidence. The 72-page from Raila Odinga. You know, these judges, if I took 30 minutes to go through Raila's petition, 72-page, a judge should take 10 minutes or 5. Because he's trained. I'm not trained in that area. So, okay, let's, maybe in exaggeration, say 2 hours. Okay?
Yeah.
And then leader, what is Omatata saying? What are the other people saying? Then replying affidavits, or whatever. What are they saying, the responses? You can have an idea quickly that even before you go for the details, In 2013, what Mutunga did, he just asked from 34As from I don't know how many places. And he quickly could see. In 2017, the Railas were able to produce from 34As and whatever from this, and just, so it's not all the evidence. But it comes from the fact that the judges already have an idea. So that's number one. Number two, this is a political court.
I think we did a conversation on that, and
Yes.
someone said, please explain the politics.
It's a political court. It is a court like that is in step with the politics of the country. I gave the example of America. In America, groups, minority groups, especially in matters of so-called rights, liberal rights, gay rights, abortion rights, they have been fighting for space over time. In countries like America, they have reached what we call a critical mass. Nobody can now ignore them. And laws are being formulated to embrace one aspect of gayism and abortion after the other. Now, so when you take a case on abortion to the Supreme Court of America, it depends on who are the majority on the bench. Are they Republicans who are conservative and therefore pro-life? Or are they Democrats who are liberal and therefore pro-choice? It's as simple as that. So again, when Trump takes cases to the American courts that may lead into overturning the election of 2020,
2020.
the American legal system, the judicial system of America up to the Supreme Court, is weighing a number of options. What could this mean to the country? In 2002, when Al Gore is swindled by Bush in Florida, he rushes to the Florida Supreme Court, who order a recount. And then he rushes to the American Supreme Court. What does the American Supreme Court say? They tell the Florida Supreme Court, you need not have ordered a recount. And why? They don't even mince words. They say if you go and do these things, you are going to mess the timelines America has set for itself. They didn't even mince words. Why was Trump not listened to recently? Because they could see what those things were leading to politically. The country, and I can repeat this here, Trump was winning that election. It would appear many of the forces in America were against a Trump victory because they thought he was distorting the American order as they know it. So they are deep state or something like that. Was determined to ensure he gets nowhere. And the courts can read that mood in the country.
Whether he had a case or not,
No,
it doesn't matter.
They kept denying him. He goes here, they deny him, including the people he had appointed himself to the bench. You get it?
Are you saying that political court in our Supreme...
It has to be. Let me tell you. This court has options. It can affirm Ruto's victory. It can give it to Raila direct. It can order a rerun in 60 days. It can order a rerun in 2 years. Let nobody lie to me they don't have the power. Because if things went wrong, we will still go back to the Supreme Court and tell them, look here, we were unable to hold this election in 60 days. In 2017, that's why I wonder, I was talking to some lawyers, I said, look, in 2017, elections were nullified, right? Raila boycotted the elections, right? In 60 days, there was going to be another election. People moved to the Supreme Court, to court. That election was going to be cancelled. What did the judiciary do? They rushed to the Court of Appeal at night. Mother Kome was challenged when she was being interviewed, Justice Mother Kome. How did you sign that petition at night from Mombasa or Kwale? The election was going not to be cancelled. Then there was another occasion again, challenging the same October 26th election, whatever time that date was. And judges were abducted, we hear. They couldn't make it to the court. Supposing they had made it to the court. That election was going to be cancelled. And the issues were going to be raised. Now, they were going to be taken to the Supreme Court. We find ourselves unable now to conduct this election. Nothing like this is provided for in the Constitution. What do we do? We would still have gone to the Supreme Court.
You just revealing...
Even Chepkati was trying to cancel that election. And he wanted to go to the Supreme Court for advice. The Supreme Court has enormous powers to save the country from a constitutional crisis. So if the court realizes you can't give this victor to Ruto, neither can you give it to Raila, neither can you conduct it in 60 days because the IEBC, as we have seen so far, is a whole mess. The Supreme Court can save the country and say, look here, let Parliament try to constitute another IEBC, which should be given 6 months or so to put IEBC in order in terms of technology and so on and so forth, and then you have your election in 2024.
But the big question would be...
The Supreme Court can do that as a way of saving the country. I'm now explaining to you before you ask a question about the political part of it. Because if the Supreme Court is ignorant of the politics of the land and the country plunges itself into chaos, so why are they there? Why are they there? Why would we then engage in chaos for 10 years? Then we start afresh or 20 years. Why can't the Supreme Court read the politics of the land, the mood of the country, and make a ruling or a judgment that is in step with the politics of the country of the time, and say to save a lot of trouble, we confirm William Samoei Ruto.
I don't know.
That's why it is a political court.
About the process, if they say let's do away with the commission,
they can make political decisions. You get it?
Yes.
Which includes even postponing the election. But then you are saying the process.
Now the process, I was looking at Twitter and Dr. Miguna says no other IBC chair can be appointed before any fresh elections are held in 60 days, even if the Supreme Court were to order it. Even if the Supreme Court was to order it, there is no time. Constitutionally, Uhuru cannot appoint IBC chair. Now I'm looking at the process now. Is Miguna right to say that?
He's wrong. He's talking about Uhuru's incapacity because of temporary incumbency, which ends the moment an election is nullified. Yeah. The moment an election is nullified, he gets back all his powers.
So we'll have...
When you cast your votes next, and somebody declared president-elect, he can't, he's temporary incumbency. He's waiting to hand over power to somebody. If somebody moves to court again and it is nullified, he gets back all his powers.
What does this mean? Are we going to also have another conversation of he's the president chair of Azimio and still appointing...
But he was the president of Azimio when he was full president.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was president of Jubilee when he was appointing these commissioners. He was the chairman of Jubilee, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Party leader of Jubilee. When he appointed these 4 commissioners. Who appointed them? Who appointed these 4 commissioners?
Uhuru over there.
What was he? Chairman of Jubilee? Ah, come on.
Talk to me then about AG Paul Kihara saying that the commission, Chebukati should not act as if it's a one-man show. This commission had a role to play, and therefore, in his response to the affidavit and the petition, he says that the commission did not play the role as it should have. Do you read from the same script? And even as we are winding up, maybe you can tell me from what is happening politically in the country, the affidavits, Tuju and whatever, and everyone else that is mentioned in this case, who is winning politically now?
The courts will tell us who is winning. That's just how difficult it is.
You cannot...
It does not matter what evidence you have. The courts will decide. This is a political court. They will look.
From your eyes, though. Yes. I'm asking from your eyes.
My eyes.
You're looking at Chebukati, you're looking at...
Chebukati, there's a question you asked, then you brought him in many other things. I wanted to respond to it. I don't know what you had
The
asked.
commission, Chebukati acting as a one-man show within the commission.
That's another issue that has been brought before the court.
Yes.
They will have to decide. There is conflicting factual assessment of the whole problem. Chebukati is a returning officer. As a returning officer, he doesn't share that responsibility with anybody. But then there is IEBC, which must tally, collect, and do all those things. So it is assumed by one side that the commission will have to process the results which Chebukati will announce. That's what it is assumed.
Yes, verify.
But what makes it even more serious, the petitioner is suing IEBC, not Chebukati. Chebukati is second respondent. First respondent, the first person you are suing for messing an election is IEBC. Now, what you are running away from because you are returning officer is catching up with you. And now those 4 commissioners are responding as a commission by virtue of majority. We are speaking as a commission. The law is very clear. An issue brought before the commission shall be decided unanimously or by majority. So they're saying we are the majority and we are responding to the petition and we agree with the petitioner. It is murky. It is not as simple.
So
as
Chebukati is on fire right now.
everybody's on fire, and there are going to be very interesting results from this. You ask me what I would have wished
Yes.
myself if I was one of the judges. What would have been me, my thinking?
Yes.
I would postpone this election for a year or so. That is the best for this country. And let me tell you, it is the best for this country. I was going to court. You know that, eh?
Yes, amicus.
As an amicus curiae. But I realized people are going to say, Manyora is Azimio, which is not true. Manyora is Raila, which is not true. So I said, okay, let me not go as Azimio. But if I was allowed there, I would tell them, the court ought to look at the politics of the country. And looking at the politics of this country, the best thing we can have for ourselves as a country is to postpone this election by a year or so, and let us now with seriousness establish a serious IBC. And I would go further and suggest that IBC be constituted in the manner we did in 1997 IPPG, where political parties, according to their strength, contribute. That is the best we had so far. I heard Ruto rubbishing it at Bomas. No, it's the best way. And it's one of the ways that many countries, some countries use to constitute an electoral body. Let the players contribute. Now, if we don't do that, we ask God, please God, you have loved us. You have shown your love for us. We have made many mistakes, but you have been on our side. Continue being on our side. However, should God get tired of us and say, shauri yenyu, mtoto akililia wembe, mpe, we will come back and say, we wish we listened to Manyora. It is easier to postpone this thing, do it in a clean way in a year or so, than do it now and pay for it. Because you will pay for it if you do it in any other way.
Is it that?
It may be immediate, it may take 5 years, it may take 10 years, but the mistakes we shall make today, we will pay for them.
And finally, is it that easy if we postpone and we have Ruto supporters who believe he is the president-elect?
Yes.
Won't that be
the
denying
Supreme Court to put things on the table, to tell Raila, look here, you have a point. Ruto, you have a point. But in between this, there is a mess kidogo hata nyinyi mnaona. The Supreme Court puts things in 2017, so we were able to see. Even if you are Jubilee, you could see. You will feel the pain, your victory is going away. But you can see somebody had messed with the system. So if the Supreme Court manages to bring out the mess, and they say, now on the basis of this mess, can we really confirm Ruto's victory? Surely people say no. But with such an IBC, look at it. Is it possible they can also conduct an election in 60 days? People say no. So what is the way out? We are interpreting, as a Supreme Court, this thing in a manner that we will give this country 1 year to reconstitute IBC and have another election. You think people will not understand? People will be hurt. Even Raila may not be happy. He's counting days. He wants to be president. Ruto will not be happy because he had already been made president. But ultimately, so long as it is in the good of the country, especially sustainable good and peace and stability, I will go for it. Many people will go for it. Many, many.
Okay, thank you so much for tuning in into a political conversation. We have a new channel, by the way. Let's Talk Love KE. It's a channel about building this country and fostering it together, created by Herman Manyora. One word about that channel to the people.
This channel is born out of what I have witnessed. This country is in need of love. Okay? Yeah. People must go beyond the politics, the differences, and embrace each other, because this is our country. Okay. And this politics has entered homes. There is divorce because of politics. That has made me say no. Let us look at the differences that exist within families, which we can have a conversation around and save a few families.
For more details, Let's Talk KE, that's the name. Search on YouTube, Let's Talk KE.
And subscribe.
And subscribe. Till we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.